Okay. I have an interesting lock here today. We have a Corbin. Brass shackle. Brass body. This doesn't look too, it doesn't look too serious in terms of security. It looks like an average lock, probably. You can see that it is, like, you can see the locking pole sticking out right there, with a cutout for the locking pole. So you would think, maybe I could shim this. I'll show that in a little while. But, let's get a look at the keyway here. So, for the keyway, we have, this is really, really tight. This piece of warding right here, let me get something to, this piece of warding right here, the pins almost rest on that, almost like in the Trioving D12, or, there's a Ruko one with the same keyway, but I can't remember what the model is. But, here we have that piece of warding, and it's very, very difficult to get around that. But I pulled this out the other day, and I thought, maybe I'll be able to pick it. The keyway looks challenging, but, maybe. Well, let's get a look at the key. This is the key. Look at this bitting. Extremes. We look at the code on the back, and this is literally the best possible bitting. We have 90909. So, with the highest cut we have the highest cut possible, lowest cut possible, highest cut possible, lowest cut possible, highest cut possible, lowest cut possible. So, it works beautifully. And the key goes in really nice, and you would think for something with that amount of bitting too, you'd have a little bit of trouble getting in the keyway, but no, it works flawlessly. But I mean, that's what you expect from Corbin, especially these older ones too. Non-rekeyable, obviously, but you can see these the pinholes here where at some point should have been covered, but aren't anymore. You wouldn't be able to see them. And then the brass shackle here. So, somebody asked me a while back about the brass shackle and why these have such, why the brass shackle, because why not a steel one? Well, so this lock here is the same model that PG&E uses, so that's Specific Gas and Electric Company. So they distribute, they are the electric company and the gas company for most of Northern California. They use pretty much this exact same model lock. You have PG&E marked on the back. I think Bosley and Bill did a video on one of those, and the trick to them is they rotate in the counterclockwise direction. So if you don't know that, you're going to have a lot of trouble. So yeah, they use these Corbins and Wilson Bohannons. But anyway, the reason for the brass shackle is so that if this is, say, sitting on an electrical panel, the brass is softer than steel. It's much softer than steel, even non-hardened steel. The brass is softer. So the brass makes it easy for, say, a fire department to come and cut the shackle to take it off that electrical panel, and they can turn off the power in an emergency where they might need to turn it off, right? That's one thing that these are useful in. The other thing that these brass shackles are used in, I don't have it with me right now. I have a couple of master locks that have these as well, but they have a steel shackle and a brass body. The brass shackle and the brass body, these are very useful in marine environments because a steel body will corrode much more than the brass will. So having a brass body and either a steel or a brass shackle, it's going to last a lot longer in a marine environment. On a boat would be the most, most likely case, or you're near the ocean, maybe on a boathouse or something, and that's how, and that's why these have these brass shackles. I can't remember where I acquired this, but this is just, yeah, that bitting is absolutely amazing for a lock. I think I did ask, Bosnian Bill, who I would say probably one of the, best pickers in the world. I asked him if he wanted to give it a shot, and he said, no thank you. I already have a couple with that, pretty much that same keyway and similar bidding that I can't get into. So it would be, in terms of Bosnian Bill picking, it would be a naughty bucket lock, because you're not getting in here. There's no way. And then here's the other thing. So I pointed out before that the shackle, the cutout here, you can kind of see it popping out of the top. There's the locking pawl right there. It looks kind of beat up, and that's because this lock has had tons of use. But I have to put a ton of force on the top of this to be able to lock this. So that is one of the anti-shim features in here, is having that much amount of force in order to push that locking pawl out of the way makes it very, very difficult to get a shim in there, because your shim is just going to get mashed by the amount of spring tension there. So, yeah. And, you know, getting a thicker shim in there is probably not going to work either. So, you know, that's one of the anti-shim features of this lock, is having that strong of a spring on there. So, yeah. Very interesting having... It looks so innocent, yet you have a bidding that is the best possible bidding you could have. And it's just, yeah, it's amazing.